If you currently live in pretty much any part of the United States right now, you're dealing with cold. And I'm not just talking, garden variety fall kind of cold. I'm talking about the bitter, bone-chilling cold. That kind of cold that comes down, from Canada and the Arctic, that kind of cold. I mean, even my brother down in San Antonio, Texas, the one who teases me about living in Iowa this time of year, has 4 inches of snow on the ground. It did not melt when it hit. Now, he expects it to be gone by tomorrow, but the fact it even lasted overnight is saying something. And I want to take a minute and talk about Texas for a minute, because there are a lot of haters out there that said, well, because Texas leads in renewable energy and, wind energy and all this crazy stuff, that's what caused it. They weren't ready.
They're spending too much time and energy on renewables there, Ken.
Yeah, let me break this down for you. According to the people who run the power grid, it was a combination of things that happened. 1, regular maintenance. Or let me back up. The Texas power grid,
I was just going to ask you about that,
is maximized, optimized for extreme heat in the middle of the summer. They know their highest loads are going to happen at 110, 115 degrees in the middle of summertime. Their whole grid is designed to deal with that. Nobody anticipated that all of Texas's 254 counties would be in a deep freeze. All of them. So what's going on? The power generation stations that burn natural gas can't. Why? Because the wells are frozen and they can't pump the gas. Crude oil ain't flowing either, people. If you've been in the United States, you've noticed the price of gasoline going up, and I don't mean by 5 or 10 cents a gallon. Here locally, it's gone up about 30 cents a gallon. Why? They can't refine it because they can't get it through the pipelines to get it to the refineries.
You're saying it's not the president's fault? Because I have people online telling me
Not even close. No. Plus, here's something else, and this comes from the Electric Reliability Council, the nonprofit outfit that runs the Texas power grid. They said that they, like any power utility, they have scenarios. They have scenarios for worst case, best case, and they prepare for this stuff. This demand is double their worst extreme case scenario. The demand for power combined with the inability of thermal generation stations like natural gas powered. And for them that are still burning coal, guess what? They can't get the coal off the ground because, you know what? It's frozen.
Oof.
It's frozen.
Oof.
Just saying. And about the wind turbines, well, Texas, nobody ever expected it to get that cold. So unlike up here in Iowa, where we got all these wind farms and our utilities not having a trouble that's over 50% generating renewables, you know why? One small little thing that MidAmerican Energy added to all their wind turbines that don't exist in Texas. You ready for it?
Ready.
Heaters. I'm not even lying to you. Heaters. Now, they said that on the renewable tip that it's been all over the place. It's been underperforming. At times it's been overperforming, but that's only a small part of the load they had to shed.
Some 15, 20% or something like that.
Not even that.
10?
No.
Oh, well, even less.
About 5. Right now, you're looking at between 10,000 megawatts and 30,000 megawatts. Part of that due to thermal load systems, generators that are offline because they couldn't get the fuel to run them. Others because of the extreme cold caused failures in transmission and distribution systems, which happens in the cold because it stresses everything. Just like your car battery and your car gets stressed when it gets bitter cold, it turns over slow, batteries die. Well, the electrical grid gets stressed in extreme heat and extreme cold. And right now, all of Texas's system is under extreme stress. So there's failures because of just the cold weather by itself and the fact some of this stuff was offline for maintenance. They didn't expect this to happen. although they knew that because back in 2015 and 2018, they could have an increase in load over the winter. But did I mention that this is double their extreme case for load? Double.
What are the lessons to be learned from here, Ken?
There are many. One, Texas is going to have to decide to start paying utilities for what they call standby power. In the 1990s, they stopped paying that because they said that we'd let the market do it. Guess what? When all of your counties are under the deep freeze and the fact that you want to run your grid by yourself and limit the interconnectivity like the rest of the country so you couldn't even buy power from other parts of the country, that's what you get.
I was going to ask you about the fact that they're on their own grid and that they've kind of maybe
till
deregulated
now,
a little of their grid.
It's largely deregulated. But the problem is not that. They couldn't get the power even if they needed to. And the worst part about this, with all that craziness going on, some utilities in our state over 1,000 miles away buy power from Texas and are involved in the rolling blackouts even up here. Yeah. Fortunately,
we can buy
not
power
the utility that we get our power from.
We can buy power from them, but they can't buy power from us?
Apparently that must be the case. Well, part of that's contractual too. You contract that, under certain circumstances, you can get the power. I don't know how that works, but I do know because they are in what they call, I think it's what they call a level 3 event, that it's called involuntary shedding power. That's where the blackouts come. It is the worst possible extreme scenario. And they do it to keep from burning up the grid. Because if the grid gets overstressed, then you can have what they call catastrophic failure. So people, just so we're clear, this is not due to renewables. Okay? Yes, the renewables underperformed and sometimes overperformed, but that was a small part of the grid. The problem is they got caught flat-footed. The demand way exceeded supply. They had a high demand at a time when the extreme cold negatively impacted their systems, and they were having catastrophic failures at the time that their grid was going to the wall and beyond what they even planned for in any model that they developed. And these folks got years and years and years and years of planning, load balancing. And they got caught flat-footed.
Hopefully we
Climate change.
Hopefully we learn something from it.
Climate change.
People might say, why is it not warmer?
Climate change.
Yeah.
And they say it's going to continue to get worse. Bottom line, they got to do something about it.
Next up, Virginia becomes a